Over half the country, including Michigan, wants to block Syrian refugees from entering their state.
For your Facebook Friday story, you asked where this stands. Now, TV6's Rebecca Himmelstein explains these possible outcomes.
We just want to make sure we're following the best practices and making sure we're keeping our country safe.
Governor Rick Snyder was the first to urge putting a pause on admitting Syrian refugees into the country. But since then, more than 30 governors have followed in his footsteps.
This is just to be prudent to make sure that some terrorist element is not entering our country.
States can make this a very difficult process because they will be on the front lines.
But despite the recent House vote and 33 states saying they will not welcome these refugees, some people are saying that decision is not theirs to make.
According to the Refugee Act of 1980, the president has the power to admit refugees without states' consent.
It's an overreaction. I think it's unnecessary, and I think it's unkind.
Martha Jennings has been an immigration attorney for almost 35 years.
I've probably got about 40 cases going.
And she says the process of applying for refugee status can take over 2 years.
Before a person is accepted into the U.S. as either an asylee or as a refugee, there are extensive background checks that go into each individual.
And many of our viewers have been sharing their thoughts about whether or not we should be welcoming these refugees into the state. One viewer says 33,000 homeless veterans on our streets, sleeping in the cold, starving, dying. Absolutely not. While another viewer says denying any and all refuge to refugees is not a way to solve the refugee crisis, nor is it a viable way of protecting against terrorism.
That's not what our law enforcement thinks. That's not what anybody who's looked at this problem thinks.
President Obama, who vowed to accept 10,000 Syrian refugees, is expected to veto the bill in the near future. Rebecca Himmelstein, TV6 News.